Have you purchased a motorhome or any RV and didn't test drive it and didn't do it? And man, did we learn that that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, we took it out. Once we hit over 40 miles an hour, it was bad. As soon as you get out of line, it starts to go.
It's like a video game.
When you think about buying a motorhome or an RV in general, well, there are some important things, especially with the motorized, you want to consider. In this video, we're going to talk about that.
It's going to be something that we actually didn't do. And this is why we're making this video, because it is so crucial to make sure you do this before you purchase. Before we dive into this, guys, just make sure that you are subscribed. A lot of you have been unsubscribed, so double check and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the amazing videos that we're going to be bringing to you coming out of the show and everywhere else. So let's dive right in. So what we're talking about in today's video is a test drive. So many people purchase RVs, motorized in many cases, and they don't do test drives. We didn't do it. We bought Nellie, our Newmar Baystar, and man, did we learn that that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do to test drive.
We learned from that experience, and we've learned continually the past 7 years. And we say a test drive, but this is going to go deeper. It's not like, oh, just go take a test drive. What should you be looking for? What you should be thinking about when you take a test drive? It should be a test drive with a purpose.
Right. It's not just a joyride.
Correct. Yeah, because we're going to show you some of the prices of these. Like the one to my left here, the Supreme Air, it's $606,000. That is a big chunk of change. You got to go in with a plan. So we're going to give you, what is it, 5 things?
7 things.
7 things. 5 things plus 2 bonuses. Things you should be looking for at minimum when you do a test drive.
The first thing we're going to talk about is comfort. Now, what we mean by comfort is just simply that. How do you feel in the seats as you're driving it? Now, I feel like I'm getting a little deja vu here because we are in the Newmar Supreme Air, and this is what we just Izzy's having a little fun. What we test drove back at the NIRVC Music City Motorhome Expo. So we'll tell you a little bit about our experience.
So when we talk about comfort, guys, how comfortable are you in the seat? Now, this is an extremely comfortable truck it's literally a truck that we're driving. We did the test drive, and we could talk more about that video if you want to see that. We'll link it up above. But what are some of the things? How do I feel? How is my back supported? The bolsters, when I have the armrest down, how is my seating position? Do I have enough room on my legs here that I'm not going to get cramped? Because if you're in something like this, a lot of times you're in for a long haul, several hundred miles, maybe more than several hundred miles. So that's something you want to consider, and you're not going to know that until you get a test drive.
So how does this feel?
This feels amazing. This feels like you can drive for a very long time. But again, this is on a commercial truck chassis. So it is designed to, you want to drive. People who are driving this are driving long distances, so they have to make it that it could support that long distance.
When we test drove the Supreme Air, Izzy was where are you going? He was in the driver's seat, and as he said, he was very comfortable. In the passenger seat, this is something that was a little different for me, that in a Super C, it was not what I expected. It wasn't as smooth as I expected. Yes, I know it's a truck, and I know everybody said that. I just didn't expect exactly how it felt. Would I not get a Super C? I'm not saying... I have a child. I'm not saying that. But it's definitely something that I wouldn't have known if we didn't do that test drive. It sounds like there's a dead duck
There's
outside.
somebody moving stuff around. We're at the show, sorry guys.
So yeah, so it's definitely something that even as a passenger, you want to make sure that you do, so you know how it feels to be in this seat as opposed to that one.
That is an important point. If you have a significant other that you're going to be traveling with, you got to bring them along. Because if I showed up with the Super C and MJ was going to be in the passenger seat a lot, it could be a problem. Again, if there's going to be you and your partner, they have to have a little bit of input in it. So we're going to move from that Super C that's right behind us that we test drove to another one we test drove, and there's a big difference. So we're going to walk over to a Dutch Star 4369, and obvious visual differences, but they're going to handle and drive very differently. One not better than the other. It's really going to be preference, but you're not going to know that till you test drive it. So let's talk about some more things in this one.
Let's get into the next one now, which we're going to talk about drivability and response and handling. Now, this is something on the Supreme Air that Izzy loved, and I'll let him tell you about that. But then now we're on the Dutch Star 4369, and in terms of comfort, at least for me, I know we're jumping back one, the comfort on this driving, it was
as heaven. A passenger.
It was as a passenger. It was like driving on clouds. It was beautiful. But let's talk about the difference when you talk about response and handling, because Izzy was the one that was driving.
Now let's talk about response and handling. Like MJ said, you can see this is clearly very different than what we were just in. This is not a truck chassis. This is specifically made for a motorhome. Before we get into that, the turning radius, that was huge difference, and not to the advantage of the Super C. So the Super C had a much longer turning radius. So when we were pulling out of the parking lot at the NRVC show, I was like, wow, this doesn't have the cut.
Didn't you have to reverse?
No, we just made it. It was like close. This, on the other hand, better wheel cut, passive tag axle. So you can, this 43 footer has a much tighter turning radius than like a 40-foot Superstar, Supreme Air, much tighter turning radius. So that's a big deal depending on, where you're going to try to maneuver these things.
So without taking a test drive, there's no way you would never know that.
You would never know that. Now let's get into the drivability, the handling. Again, very distinctive. Here's the thing. Getting onto the highway, not as fun in the truck. Rough. Once it got on the highway, it just wanted to go. It had the torque, it had the power, and it was planted. Now this, on the other hand, very nice. Getting to the highway, getting on the highway. As far as being planted on the road, we felt that the Supreme Air was better. This certainly was very good. But again, you're not going to know that unless you're driving. Now, as far as comfort and handling, they both handled very well. They took the win very well. But they're very distinct and they're very different. You won't know any of that until you take them out on the road.
And I just want to reiterate again that we were very surprised by these test drives of both the Class A and the Super C, because again, it were just things that we never knew, because we never test drive. That was which we did test drive a Renegade.
Yes.
One.
And that's even more different because that's a much smaller Super C.
Right. But it was very eye-opening doing these test drives, but very informative.
Now, outside of the test drive, we do absolutely want you to go test out the mattress on your RV. Now, we are in a $700+ thousand motorhome. This mattress would have to get changed.
Yeah, the mattresses in RVs, even the higher end ones, that's not really, I think, where they're putting the money. They're putting it into every other beautiful aspect of the motorhome.
And when we bought our motorhome, it was no different. We did change our mattress to a mattress from RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. We've had it for several years. We absolutely love it, guys, because we like a firm mattress. RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding makes RV specific mattresses. So they will have a mattress specifically for this RV, which is a RV King, and they'll have all different types of mattresses. So if you like memory foam, you like coils, like a hybrid of both. They also have the new Titan Plus. So if you're bigger, you're heavier, as a direct response to RVers, they now made that available for RVs.
What's great about them is that they offer a 120-night sleep trial. So guys, you cannot tell by laying on this mattress for a week if it's going to be good for you. Take those months and really sleep on this and see if it's going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah, they're headquartered in the USA. They're just a great company. They've been around for a long time. Hundreds and hundreds of our subscribers have purchased from RVmattress.com.
We've had ours for
three plus years. Yeah, we have one in
great.
Jason's room. They have cooling pillows, blankets, all different types of accessories to make your sleep better, which is one of the most important things you can do is sleep. What's awesome is that for the month of September, they're going to have an extra percentage off of a normally 25% off. So you're going to get 30 to 35% off for the month of November. All you have to do is go to RVmattress.com/endless. Use the discount code
endless.
You will get that extra savings. Guys, we absolutely love them. We do encourage you, if you're at a show, they're at the Hershey show right now, but in general, give them a call. Reach out to them. They will fit you in the appropriate mattress. If you are looking to upgrade the mattress in your RV, we're going to put their information down below. Let's talk about the next thing that you're almost always only going to see on a test drive. This is how everything's at the show. This is how everything is set up at the dealership. Look how big this is. It's beautiful. I have more room. I can do jumping jacks in here, backflips, it doesn't matter. This is not how it is going down the road. So when you're going down the road, you want to make sure, because listen, these slides are going to close in. Do I have enough space to get to my half bath? Do I have enough space to get to the bedroom? Depending on the size of a person, you have people that are very small. You have people that are very big. They may need something that's wider. It may not even matter to them, but that should be part of your test drive. Even before you start, do the walkthrough. Okay, is this even accessible for me? Is this something that I can live with the slides in?
Next thing we're going to talk about is noise. This was also eye-opening for us. We test drove a number of coaches at the expo, and when we test drove the Super C, I actually thought it was going to be a little louder than it was.
Because the engine's up front. I know people are familiar with that.
Right. So many times Super Cs, people are afraid it's going to be loud. You're not going to be able to hear each other talk. It was actually fine. The Class A, of course, the Dutch Star was very quiet, and
because the engine's in the back.
Right.
People don't know.
Right. If you're driving a more budget-friendly motorhome, you will hear more creaks and squeaks and rattles and things like that. So, but on the Dutch Star, we weren't really hearing this. So
we really didn't hear anything.
No, and we've test driven other Class A's that we did hear a lot. So that's something that you want to be aware of if that's going to bother you.
Yeah, so what does that mean? That means that things are
moving a lot.
Right, they're not built as well.
Right.
One particular motorhome, we won't say the name of the motorhome, but it was a $700,000 motorhome. We took it out. Once we hit over 40 miles an hour, the wind noise coming in, it was almost intolerable. It was bad, like whistling, loud. And then we asked the rep, he said, oh, well, the door needs an adjustment. Like, this is a $700,000 motorhome. Like, again, you're not going to know this unless you take it out on the road.
The next one is very important, and sometimes people will tell us this.
They freak out about it.
Yeah, they're just not confident. So what we're talking about is confidence in driving whatever motorhome that you're looking at. For example, behind us we have a London Air. It's a 45-footer. It's a big motorhome to drive. You got 45 feet behind you, or so. If you've never driven something of this size, it can be very intimidating. It really isn't, though. Once you get behind it and you learn, just about your tail swing and all of those other things, it isn't as hard as you think, and we always tell people that.
Plus you have the height, you have the weight.
Right, you have the width, the height, you have everything that you have to think about. But if that is a little scary to you, many manufacturers offer different options. So again, we're in the Newmar section because we're Newmar owners. Newmar has done a beautiful job of bringing luxury to something in a much smaller size. So the New Air, you have a 35-ish foot motorhome here. There's a Newmar New Air 3543. So you're going to get that luxury, but it's in a way smaller package. And this is one of their best sellers, the New Airs, because of that. So people can have that luxury, but they don't have to worry about the intimidation of the size that they're driving.
Next thing we're talking about is visibility. Now, if you're in a Class A, B, Super C, there's differences. Obviously, you can see in front of me, the most visibility is going to be on a Class A. You go in a Class B, basically a van, much smaller. Super C, we just showed you, much smaller window. But also take in consideration, what do your mirrors look like? What can you see? Do you have a 360 camera system? A lot of RVs will have a 360 camera system. So something like this, when I put into different views, if I go all around me, I'm driving alone, I can pull into a tight spot. I see everything around me. I can go to the front, the side, the rear. That may be something that is really important. When you're in the test drive, hit that camera, see how accurate it is, see how informative it is. Another thing I want to talk about, a little bit of safety. This could be annoying or it cannot be annoying. A lot of these have the lane keep and they have the lane warning. So when we drove that Dutch Star, as soon as you get out of line, it starts to go.
It's like a video game when you used to sit and rumble the seat.
I think it's a good idea, but you may hate that. You may want to know a way to disable it. Maybe it's a system that you don't want to option in. You won't know that unless you take a test drive.
Let us know, have you purchased a motorhome or any RV and didn't test drive it and then went, oh my gosh, I wish I test drove that.
Yeah, also, what are some tips that you use for your test drive or just looking at RV in general? We want that information. Guys, if you like videos like this, to the left of us, we're going to put our RV Tours playlist. We'll put our RV Newbies playlist. And for myself and MJ, it's a journey of a lifetime. And we'll see
you on the road.